In this video we are going to take a closer look at the Codex Imperial Agents preview released on Warhammer Community, which brings significant changes to the Deathwatch as we currently know them. In the first part, we will go through the relevant preview content featuring how GW is planning to unleash the might of the Emperor's Inquisition. In the second part, we will then look at what this potentially means for the Deathwatch. Lastly, there will be a quick wrap-up of what has been covered.
Welcome to SwissHammer, your channel for modeling in Warhammer 40k. My name is Tamer, and I will be guiding you through this video.
Well, the rumors have been going strong for this one for a while now, so I think I can speak not only for myself when saying that we Deathwatch players have been eagerly awaiting the official announcement of the Codex Imperial Agents. Just to be clear here, the following content is based on preview information alone, and of course the full codex information is required in order to get the bigger picture of how Deathwatch will continue to be playable in 10th edition. With that out of the way, Codex Imperial Agents will focus on the three main Ordo of the Inquisition, the Ordo Xenos, Malleus and Hereticus respectively. All of these will get their own detachment, plus there will be a fourth one that is being previewed in the article called the Imperialis fleet. In addition to this, Imperial Agents would not truly live up to their name if they could not be included into armies with the Imperium keyword, and the Codex will expand further on that. As it currently stands, assassins, knights or henchmen for instance can be included that way, and the Codex now goes a step further and allows the inclusion of so-called retinue units, character units and requisitioned units. So far so good, right? Well, yes and no. While specific Adeptus Sororitas and Grey Knight units will count as requisitioned units, the article confirms that Deathwatch kill teams, and the link in the article refers to the actual Deathwatch Veterans kit, will count as retinue units. That's right, in a 2000 points game for example, any army with the Imperium keyword will be able to field up to 2 units of Deathwatch characters, Deathwatch Veterans and corresponding transports, pretty much going back to how the Deathwatch worked way before they got their own standalone codex. The truly worrying part, however, is that the article then continues to address the future of full Deathwatch Space Marine armies, and I quote, "Those with full Deathwatch Space Marine armies needn't worry, they can add the Deathwatch specific units to a Space Marine army of black-clad units like Intercessors and Terminators, melding the strong foundations and detachments of Codex Space Marines with the themed specialists from Codex Imperial Agents." End of quote. And to make matters even worse, contrary to the Grey Knights, which are confirmed to get a codex later on in the edition, in this very same article, there is no such mentioning of the Deathwatch. With the preview content out of the way, what does this mean for the Deathwatch? Well, I don't know about you guys, but to me this preview clearly reads as GW giving us the short end of the stick by basically saying that from here on we can roleplay with our Deathwatch models while playing the regular Codex Space Marines and its detachments. It seems like the worst of the rumors have become true, and the Deathwatch as a standalone non-codex compliant Space Marine chapter with their own codex supplement and unique detachment will be discontinued, and instead we are being folded into Codex Imperial Agents to be basically used as retinue units only, or perhaps in a more flexible way through the Ordo Xenos detachment, but I would personally not get my hopes up on that part. Personally, I think that GW is taking the easy way out here with their inability to balance the Deathwatch properly by basically getting rid of the actual kill teams and their challenges with mixed units and proper points cost. As GW has been dumbing down the game unit and points wise in 10th edition, basically there is a fixed cost for min and max size. This has never really been working out for Deathwatch kill teams so far, basically locking us into one specific way to run a kill team, and even with that in most cases, the kill teams ended up being overpriced. Furthermore, they failed to balance special issue ammunition in 9th edition, or rather they just more or less removed it from play entirely, and while special issue ammunition started very promising into 10th edition by being accessible through stratagems, they got hit very hard with the nerf hammer right at the start of the edition and never recovered from that. As I covered extensively in previous videos, the Deathwatch and their unique detachment suffered heavily in this edition, but I personally don't think that they were impossible to fix, but as I said, GW decided for the easy way out instead. Furthermore, I think Deathwatch Veterans as retinue units available to any Imperial army will be a double-edged sword. As we've seen over the course of this edition so far, basically Agents of the Imperium are either auto-includes like the Calidus or Imperial Henchmen, up to the point where they get hit by the nerf hammer too much, and that's basically how it's going to be for our Deathwatch Veterans. If they are too competitive, everyone will take them, at which point GW will have to act, and ultimately it will be at the expense of those of us who actually want to continue playing Deathwatch. My personal guess is that they will severely limit the loadouts of Deathwatch Veterans, basically sticking to what can be built from a single box only, further dumbing down flexibility for the sake of marketing and box sales. That said, is it really all doom and gloom for us Deathwatch players from here on? Well, while it certainly appears to be the case based on the preview, there is some small comfort to be had as far as I'm concerned. First of all, with Deathwatch dropping as a standalone faction, at least we can finally say goodbye to Goonhammer's fence-sitter Deathwatch coverage, poorly written based on input provided by a certain Art of War member who never bothered to look into the tournament-winning Army of Renown rules of 9th edition, yet was still handled as the faction expert, entirely free from criticism thanks to Goonhammer's moderator team ensuring that their echo chamber lives on undisturbed. One less faction to cover where you would actually have to put some brains in. While I have one middle finger strictly reserved for GW, you guys at Goonhammer get my second one. It's always great to have spares for such occasions. The load of salt that needed to be dropped aside, I think the one positive part is that Codex Imperial Agents seems to really tie into the fluff part of the hobby. Part of what got me into the Deathwatch is of course the Emperor's Inquisition and the prospect of playing lists featuring both Deathwatch Veterans and Sisters, or Grey Knights, accompanied by some other Inquisition units really has me thrilled. I do have a Sister of Battle army next to Space Marines, and being able to field elements of those together once more is something I am really looking forward to. Will it be competitive? I don't think so, but it should be more than good enough for casual games. Speaking of which, there might also be the chance that our kill teams live on through Legends, which would mean that we could at least continue bringing a Proteus or Indomitor kill team to a friendly beer hammer kind of game. All in all, this does seem to be a heavy blow for us Deathwatch players, and I fully expect us to be forced to return to playing Codex Space Marines, with our black-clad Marines sporting a sexy silver arm. We will have the full answer to that once the Codex Imperial Agents finally drops, and I will of course be doing a full review on this channel, so stay tuned for that. To wrap things up, over the course of the video, we have looked at the preview of Codex Imperial Agents on Warhammer Community, which appears to bring Doomsday to the Deathwatch. While the codex itself ties heavily into the three main orders of the Inquisition, Xenos, Malleus and Hereticus, it appears that GW is about to take the easy way out with balancing Deathwatch by basically discontinuing us as a standalone Space Marine faction and instead folding a handful of basic Deathwatch datasheets, such as Deathwatch Veterans, the Watchmaster and the Corvus Blackstar, into the Codex Imperial Agents. From then on, these units will be available as retinue to any army with the Imperium keyword, kind of like the Agents of the Imperium rule has been working so far with assassins and the like. The article hints at players with a full Deathwatch army basically having to roleplay while using the Codex Space Marine rules, aka we will be black-clad Ultramarines and the Swords from here on. This contrary to the Grey Knights, which get their confirmation in the article that they will indeed get a full codex at a later point in this edition. Overall, while Codex Imperial Agents looks interesting from a fluff perspective and should make for a good experience on at least a casual level, having the Deathwatch dropped as a standalone Space Marine faction deserves nothing other than giving the middle finger to GW. End of story. So that's it for the Codex Imperial Agents revealed on Warhammer Community last week. How do you guys feel about the future of the Deathwatch, and how do you think our armies are going to be playable after the Codex release? Any other factions you are planning to look into at this point? Let me know in the comments. Then finally, if you made it this far and I still have your attention, if you like my content, any additional support is greatly appreciated as it helps me invest into future videos. For that, I have both a Ko-fi as well as a Patreon page, links are in the description. Furthermore, I would also like to mention that there is a SwissHammer Facebook page where I will be posting links to my videos as well as articles I find of interest. I do read a lot about the hobby, but not all of it will always end up as its own video. I look forward to seeing you there as well. As always, thank you very much for watching, guys. Your continued support is greatly appreciated. I hope you have been enjoying this video. Give me a thumbs up if you did, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thanks again and see you next time.